You're commuting home with Katz and Cosby. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
Joining us now is the great Fox business correspondent, the guru over there, Charlie Gasparino. Charlie, you wrote a really powerful column saying America may soon be subjected to the country's first DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion president. Explain.
Well, I mean, let's rewind the videotape to 2020. Joe Biden is running in the primaries. He's at this point debating Bernie Sanders, and he knocked everybody out, including Kamala Harris. And by the way, they didn't end on the greatest note, he and Kamala. Do you remember how she basically called him a racist for supporting for being against federally mandated busing back in the 70s? It was one of her key moments in during the campaign. It rocketed her for a time. People were talking about her possibly being the next president, but then she just fizzled out. She got like 2% of the vote. She just never made the sale. So he's against Bernie Sanders, and he basically promises at this point that he's definitely going to pick a woman to be his running mate. Doesn't matter how many qualified guys out there, it's going to be a woman. Fast forward to after George Floyd, and when the country was roiling in DEI mandates left and right, he basically makes the decision that he's only going to pick a black woman, and that's how Kamala Harris became vice president and possibly the president of the United States. If he has to step down, or if he wins and he doesn't last for his 4 years, and she's going to be your next president. The question is she qualified? And I think, just saying that she's a DEI candidate is not enough. You have to show that whether she's a DEI candidate who's unqualified. On paper, she checks a lot of boxes. Yes, checks the race box, Jamaican father, Indian mother, U.S. senator, former prosecutor. But if you delve into her record, and this is why she's never made the case nationally really very well, is that she's kind of a lightweight politician. No one could figure out what she actually has ever accomplished. How she got to be a political player in California is very interesting. You can Google Kamala Harris and Willie Brown, the former mayor of San Francisco, and in the state, you'll see what I'm talking about. She hasn't been a very good vice president at all. I mean, she was the border czar. Okay, the one, of all the major catastrophes of the Biden administration, and we don't have to go through each one of them, the border is at the top, and she was in charge of that. She's annoying. She has a horrible laugh. It wouldn't be so bad if she was a nice person, but apparently no one likes working with her. She lost her staff. Yeah, she's lost a lot of her staff too. Ed Cox.
Now, if a Republican presidential candidate picked a vice presidential candidate who was so unqualified, what do you think the press would have done?
Oh, yeah. Well, look what they did to Dan Quayle. I mean, just go back. It's not that I'm dating myself here, but. And actually, he was a good vice president, just didn't look like one. That's all. Yeah. And he didn't have stature, and he misspelled potato. Remember that one time we went to a class and he misspelled the word potato and they made a big thing out of it. He was actually a very good debater. He was a smart guy in policy, but they just destroyed the guy while he was in office. And so think about that compared to the kid gloves treatment that Kamala Harris is getting from most of the media, not me. She's a lousy vice president. She wasn't a very good U.S. senator.
And Charlie, and now the politicians in Washington, the Democratic side, are looking at the alternatives to Biden, and they look at her and they say, wait a second, this may not work.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to get him out. How they're going to bypass her if he gets out. I mean, it's just this is the party of DEI. To say that an African American woman vice president, or she's half black vice president, shouldn't be the standard bearer after serving as vice president is even though she was horrible at her job, is going to be a heavy lift. So I think we might be stuck with her.
Okay. Charlie Gasparino, thank you. And I get your text every Sunday morning at 8:00 and keeps me up.
Thank you. I appreciate it, John. Thanks for
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, it's Lou Dobbs for Priority Gold, America's precious metals dealer. These are volatile times with high inflation, soaring debt, wars on multiple continents, and rising financial stress. Central banks are buying gold to diversify their reserves, so are many Americans. Call Priority Gold and find out how precious metals can help you diversify your portfolio. They're highly rated and happy to help. Call 1-866-303-6357 or get a free gold guide at PriorityGoldGuide.com. That's PriorityGoldGuide.com.